Hello gamers, it's Tom Sidener, the Lonely Gamer. It's Thursday, October the 20th, 2016, and it's time for the news. The first thing on the news today, I want to let you gamers know that there's a big sale going on at Miniature Market. That's miniaturemarket.com. They're having an unbelievable sale. It's a huge sale. It's like 53 pages of items on sale, board games, miniatures, cards, and I went through it yesterday and looked, and there are a few gems in there. Unfortunately, I have so many games that most of them I already have, but there are a lot of them out there that that I thought were a good deal. They do have, the last time I looked, they did have some copies of Blood Rage, which is one of my favorite games, and they had it for a very reasonable price. So anyway, go check out that sale if you're looking for some games for Christmas presents or for just to buy and play. They did have some really good prices. The next thing on my list is Smash Up. Smash Up is a game I enjoy, but I find it kind of fiddly whenever you're playing because you got to keep track of who's done what, and how much damage are on the different sites and everything, and when you put out new sites and stuff like that. But that game has just been ported to a computer game, and it is available on Steam. So if it's a game you like, but you'd rather have the computer take care of all the little fiddly bits, then go check that out, Smash Up on Steam. The next thing on the list is something that was brought out at Essen. Portal released a bunch of things that are coming out. They have a bunch of new games coming out, and I'm going to talk about some of them, some other ones in later episodes, but in this one I'm going to highlight the fact that they're coming out with an expansion for Cry Havoc. So Cry Havoc hasn't been out that long. I've had the game for a week, but they have already said that they are going to have the Cry Havoc Aftermath expansion that should be coming soon, and you'll be able to add that to your game and switch it up a little bit. So the next thing on the list is the Talk of the Town for Spiel Essen. That show is over, but the big game to come out of that is a game called Adrenaline. And Adrenaline is a really cool game that really makes you feel like you're in a first-person shooter, something like Halo or Wolfenstein or something like that. It's a game with miniatures where they're running around a board and you're trying to attack the other players, but when you attack them and kill them, they're not out of the game. They just are respawned at a respawn point, but when they respawn, they actually have a target on you. So if they come back after you, they get more points. There's several different game modes you can play. It looks like there's a pretty cool mechanic for line of sight where you can see line of sight, but you can also look outdoors and around corners. You can peer around corners and shoot things. The game comes with the ability to pick up cool weapons like flamethrowers and machine guns and stuff like that. Just like in a first-person shooter, you have ammo that you have to pick up, and so every weapon can do like a small attack, but if you add ammo to it, you can do a crazy attack. You can do attacks that actually hit multiple people in multiple rooms. So there's a flamethrower that you can barbecue somebody through a couple rooms, and you can give multiple players damage, and it's a real free-for-all game. It looks really cool. It looks really nice. A lot of people have been talking about it. So Adrenaline is definitely a game that's going to come out from Essen that you're going to want to check out. There are several things that were released this week, several good things that were released for purchase that you can get on the general market. The first one that I didn't even know about until I saw it was available was the Pathfinder adventure card game, The Mummy's Mask. That's a new Pathfinder adventure card game, base game. If you've ever played them before, you get the base game, and usually the base game comes with the first expansion, and then they sell expansions. It's kind of like selling the Razor and the Razor Blades, but it is a good game. We used to actually have a game group that met every Friday, and that's all we did was played the Pathfinder adventure card game. We played it for probably almost a year, and then we kind of got burnt out on it. But the Mummy's Mask has just come out, so if that's a game you're a fan of, you should go check that one out. That is available at retail. Also, a game that I looked at Gen Con, which is a nice little quick filler game called Dicey Goblins, was released this week. You can pick that up at your local game store. It is a push your luck goblin game where you have to decide whether you want to run in and try to steal eggs from the dragon, or you want to try to escape. Those people who stay in and try to get the eggs, they push their luck and see if they can make it to the treasure. So Dicey Goblins, that one's out this week. Another game that came out this week was an expansion to Mystic Vale. It's the Veil of the Magics expansion. I have not played Mystic Vale. I'm really on the fence on that game. I've talked to several people who love it. I talked to several people who hate it. So I'm really up in the air. I would really like to find somebody who has a copy of it that I could get a chance to play it before I buy it. That game was just rampant at Gen Con. People were carrying it around everywhere, but I think someplace at Gen Con they were giving that thing away free, because I saw so many people with that game at Gen Con that I think there was a conference or something you could go to and get a free copy. A lot of people had it, but I have not played it. I would like to play the base game before I buy the expansion, but if you have the base game and it's a game that you enjoy, then go ahead and pick up the expansion. It's out this week, and it's the Veil of Magics expansion. Another game that came out this week is one that I did purchase and that I have looked at, and it's a beautiful game, and that's Oceanus. I have some nieces that are in the middle school age range, and I wanted to have a game that I could play with them when they were over for family functions and everything. And this Oceanus is a beautiful game. It's a game where you have each player has a submarine, and your submarine can be upgraded. And it's a card drafting game where you're building an ocean and you're going with your submarine down into the ocean to explore, and you're trying to get treasure chests, and you're trying to find sea creatures, and you're trying to find coral reefs. And it's a really cute little game. The artwork is amazing, and I picked that up, and that one's out for release this week as well. So check that out if you've got younger players, or you've got people who you'd like to bring into the fold. It's a really good gateway game, and it's a really beautiful game, so check that one out. The other thing this week was Kickstarter news. There's two Kickstarters that I'd like to talk about this week. The first one is the Warriors Turf Wars. If you're a fan of the Warriors movie, the old Warriors come out and play, clink, 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 then you might like this game. It looks like a pretty good game. I'm going to do a little more research on it and find out a little bit more about it, but I wanted to make sure I got the information to you. It is not, as of this taping, fully funded, but it is very, very close. It's within just a smidgen of being fully funded. And this morning when I looked at it before I taped this, there was actually one early bird thing left. I'm not an early bird, I'm a late bird, and usually when I go to Kickstarter, the early birds are all gone, so I was kind of shocked to see that there was one copy of early bird left. So if you see this, you can run out, maybe you can get that early bird. It's normally $100 for a pledge, but the early bird is $80. Now the one cool thing about this game, other than the fact that it's based on the Warriors movie, is the fact that each player has their own little gang box, which you flip it open, and it's got all your figures in it. It's got your dice, your board, and everything. So each gang box is contained, which is really nice. So when you go to play, you just hand somebody the gang box. Here's your gang, and they're ready to go. So that's a pretty cool concept. I'm kind of the person who likes to have my bits and pieces all organized within my games. It drives me insane whenever there's a game and just everything's just thrown in there. So I like a game that has some organization to the game itself, to the packaging, and so this is one that definitely has that. So if you're into the Warriors movie, check that out. The other Kickstarter game that I want to talk about today is Matt Leacock has got a new game out called Chariot Race. That looks like a really cool game. Now that game has 16 days to go on the Kickstarter, and it is only $24 for a pledge. So very, very reasonable Kickstarter. We've kind of got accustomed to these Kickstarters that are hundreds of dollars, and you get all kinds of stuff. But $24 for a game, pretty good, pretty reasonable. So check that one out. It's a chariot racing game where you're racing chariots around a circle, and you're trying to be the first one to get to the finish line, or at least make it to the finish line. So check that out. That's Chariot Race by Matt Leacock. Alright, well, I think that's all I have on the news for this week. keep gaming, keep playing. If you have any comments, put them down below. I always answer all my comments if you have any questions, or if you have any news that you want me to add to the next week's news, just go ahead and leave that down there, and I'll talk about that as well. But otherwise, you guys keep playing games, happy gaming, and I'll see you next time.